Breaking news on channel .367.
When your channel isn't good enough to be a whole number.
Actually, I'm focusing on what fillers we are. We have important news to report.
Like anyone's gonna watch.
Well, maybe a classroom might find this important. Anyway, breaking news, Congress passed a new law requiring men ages between 21 and 30 to register for military service. Many people see this as a preparation for war, while the government hasn't officially declared war yet. People are wondering if we Americans will join the battle.
What's going to happen to all these men when they enter the military? Who's going to fill their jobs? Many people are thinking women are going to have to step up in this role. But women are refusing to take these jobs as companies are offering them much lower pay than they paid men.
Many people are sitting at home wondering what led to this outbreak overseas. We found from our sources that the immediate cause was the assassination of the Austrian-Hungarian Prince, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Imperialism was already causing high tensions between this empire, Germany, and Russia. After the assassination of Archduke Franz, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire declared war on these countries. These countries wanted to show they had more power and were more important.
Breaking news! America has officially declared war against Germany. We will fight with the Allies, giving them a huge break, considering we will be bringing everything they have been short on. Setting aside, we've been watching this war for the past 3 years. Politics have been worried about entering a foreign war on foreign lands. Many immigrants have wanted to avoid this war and have come to America to escape it. Even though President Wilson has kept us out of the war, into his second term he had a change of heart. The Germans have started unrestricted submarine warfare with the U.S. They also attempted to send a telegram through the Western Union, which, by the way, is located in London, and not very smart on their part, because we're pals with London. But on this telegram, they told the government of Mexico, if you fight with the U.S., we will give you back the land the U.S. took from you. With this, our pals from London sent us this telegram, which led us to declaring war, says our sources. But what do you think about this, Jade?
I find this quite interesting that our buddies from London got all this information. I'm just wondering why Germany would take the risk of putting it all the way in London, considering that we're allies with them. So I give them applause. We have new intelligence on the warfare and weapons of this war, from rifles, machine guns, flamethrowers,
Flamethrowers? Really? So they literally burn people?
Well, I guess so, but...
Don't you think that's morbid? I mean, who used these?
Well, the Germans first, but like I was saying...
That's awful. I mean, what's next? Tricking people they're taking showers, but really they're going to be gassed to death? Or what, they'll just burn them alive now?
That will never happen.
I bet you 50 cents it will.
Alex, you know I don't have 50 cents.
I'm still making the bet.
Fine.
Thank you, that's all I was asking for.
Anyway, the tank is a new trend they're bringing onto the battlefield, with them running top speed of 3 miles per hour.
So they're basically bringing turtles onto the battlefield.
Basically. Also, the aircraft has made a major part of this war, along with the Germans using poisonous gas.
So they're the gases, like I'm telling you.
Would you stop? Anyway, major factors of weapons were the rifles, machine guns, tanks, and aircraft.
Information on the Battle of Verdun was released this week. Almost 1 million dead between the German and French. This was a 10-month-long battle. On February 21st, 1916, roughly around 20,000 machine guns went open fire. The French lost 540,000 casualties and the Germans won, but at a great cost of 430,000 dead. The Germans then took over Vortvox.
We just got recent intel on the Battle of Cambrai. This battle took place on November 20th, 1917, between the British and the Germans. This was the first great attack where tanks were used. The British have 45,000 deaths, while the Germans have 50,000 dead. The British surprise attack on the Germans was a success as they take the victory.
Time for remembering our heroes. Today our hero is Frank Luke. He consequently served in World War I. He was a renegade pilot for the U.S. and was nicknamed Balloon Buster for bursting German observation balloons. He joined in July 1918 in France in the 27th Aero Squadron. Luke had a very reckless and cocky flying attitude. Luke had his first kill on September 12, 1918 and had 15 kills by September 28th of that same year. One day he had shot down 2 balloons and 3 enemy planes. Even though he was a great pilot, he didn't follow orders well.
Oh, so like you.
It's called selective hearing.
Sure.
Anyway, on September 29th, he had orders from his officer to be grounded, but Luke took off on a solo mission anyway. He took off near Morvax, France, and when he took off, he took down 3 balloons quickly and crashed his plane. He ran into German forces but died from injuries. He was the first pilot to receive the Medal of Honor.
Next up, we have Albert Ball. He also served in World War I. He fought with the British. He was a pilot, even though he only had 44 kills. But he was known for his fighting spirit. Albert was a very quiet person who lived in a small shack with a garden adjacent to his airplane hangar. He had a do-or-die attitude while fighting, often staying in the air until he was riddled by enemy fire. This made him very famous in the United Kingdom. Most of the time, he would be assigned solo patrol. His well-known maneuver was flying around the enemy planes and using his tilting machine gun to fire at them from below. Even though he had an amazing reputation, he struggled with violence in combat. This led to depression, His depression may have led to his death in May 1917. His plane mysteriously crashed while fighting against the Red Barons, also known as the Flying Circus. Albert Ball was only 20 years old when he crashed and died.
Now next up we have the Battle of Sumner after these messages.
Alex, you know we don't have commercials.
Oh, we don't?
No, we never had. We weren't able to afford to put any on.
Oh, well that's true then. The Battle of Sumner has been one of the largest battles of World War I yet. Experts say it will be the largest. The battle started on July 1st and ended on November 1st, 1916. The battle took place near Sumner River in France. The Allies, which were the British and Americans fighting in this battle, they suffered 57,000 casualties on the first day. The battle was the first real offensive move for the British in the war, which gave them confidence. But the French were the only ones who had the advancements, and they suffered less casualties. By the end of the battle, German forces were forced back and weakened. Together, the Allies and Central Powers suffered more than 1.5 million casualties.
And now we have the Battle of Saint-Mihiel. This battle went from September 12th through the 16th, 1918. The French and Americans teamed up to fight the Germans southeast of the Verdun. The Germans had 5,000 dead and the Americans had 7,000 dead. By the end of this battle, the Allies had pushed the opposing forces back and gained area to attack, leading them winning the war.
Next up is life in the trench. Trench life is very terrible for soldiers. Trenches are very unsanitary. Soldiers started to gather the mindset that they are all going to die. The frontline trenches were the worst trenches to be put in. They were constantly under fire. The Germans built dry, safe trenches, and they even had electricity and running water. The British and French trenches were the opposite, considering they didn't think they'd be there for long. Muddy and miserable. The disease spread like crazy. There were few hot meals and their clothes were very wet. It was important to keep your sanity. Disease killed more men than direct fire. Men sat around for days, waiting for the first shot. Bodies were everywhere. Soldiers just waited to die in the trenches. Well, I think we covered all the news we needed to, Jade.
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we educated people. Now, how do we say goodbye?
I don't know, actually.
Well, do we just sit here and smile till the screen fades black?
And do that awkward laughing thing?
Yeah, that ending all news people do.